Today we're going to tell you all about the suspension that I put on my bike. First we're going to go down and talk to Shane because he's the one at Rick Rack that ended up putting all my stuff on my bike. He's going to explain the difference in the Legend shocks to you, and then we're going to show you the install, and then at the end I'm going to tell you what I thought. After 8 months, how well do I like the Legend shocks? So let's jump right in and go see what Shane's got to say.
Hey guys, this is Shane at Rick Rack. We're going to show you the Legend suspension upgrades for your Harley Davidson bikes. Down here we've got the front suspension, the Legend Axial. This is going to replace the stock fork tubes inside, like the springs and all the oil and stuff inside your front shocks. This is going to replace that. This is going to give you a better ride, no dive under braking, soak up the bumps more. It's adjustable, so you can put the preload in it for rider weight and how much load and cargo you're carrying on your bike. But it's a performance suspension, so you can lower the bike an inch if you've got like a limited or an ultra touring bike. If you got short inseam, you want to lower the bike a little bit, you can do this in the front about an inch, and it's going to give you more travel than the suspension that's stock in your bike. If you want to leave the bike the same height, we have a standard cartridge that goes in, and it's all adjustable. Much better ride, especially in cornering, under braking, over bumps, stuff like that. The front end, it's a game changer in the front suspension of your Harley Davidson motorcycle. The rear of the bike, you've got some different options. This here is the Revo A, comes in a 12, 13, and 14 inch. For the touring bikes, you're going to do a 12 or 13, like a street glide or a road glide. It's got 12-inch shocks on it. This is going to give you more travel than the 12-inch that you've got now. If you've got a touring, like a limited or a ultra, you've got 13-inch shocks. It's going to give you a lot more travel that way as well. This, you have your preload here. You can adjust for your rider weight, the sag. If you got a load, you can put a couple turns in it. No tools needed for it. You just turn and adjust it. It's got the rebound adjustment here, so if you want to speed up or slow down the rebound, that's a great adjustment for that. A bolt-on replacement shock. We use on all our bikes. You're going to love that shock. This one here, this is the ARCs. This has the canister. The dial here, you can adjust rebound and compression right here. It only comes with a 13-inch shock, so if you're having a street glide or a touring bike, you can't get a 12-inch to lower it. This is going to raise the street glide just a little bit, but give you a lot more travel. The ARCs, you can do the remote reservoir mount on top of the bags, or if you don't get the extra mount, it comes underneath the bag and you can adjust it from the back. So we've got complete packages for your bike, front and rear. A lot of guys will start in the back. Revo A's, they sell for $925. That's a great shock for your bike. You're going to like that one for sure. If you want an upgrade, this one's going to be a little bit better. 13-inch only, gives you more travel, more fluid transfer, a little bit more of a better ride.
So I'm going to go ahead and put the ARCs on it, and I'm going to go ahead and have them do the front. So let's go over and have them install those now, and then we'll take them out for a ride and we'll see what we think about it. Let's go.
As long as that little
All right, so we got everything installed. I didn't get everything shot today, so we're actually doing it a day later. But they got everything all hooked up. Got the cylinders back here for the adjustment. They let us go out and do a couple rides, and they adjusted it up for what we had. I set it up for both of us riding it together versus apart. But on the shocks, what we ended up getting was the Legends. And you might say, hey, why? I thought you weren't going to buy the Legends. Well, I went through Rick Rack for the reason that I wanted to make sure I had a good warranty. Depending on whatever happens to them in the future, everybody that I've talked to, not everybody, because I know a few of you have recommended other brands, but a lot of the people in the industry here, the vendors, they've got the Legend shocks. And even all the guys over there at Rick Rack, they've got either this model or the one that's underneath it, they've got that model. On the front, we went ahead and got the AXEO for the front, and I ended up going down and dropping it an inch. Getting a little older, maybe get a little more stability on the bike, I decided to go that route. So the test will be, we're going to ride it a little bit. We're going to be going out on Spearfish Canyon with it, things like that. Do some windy roads with it, and we'll see how it performs. One of the things they said, one of the mechanics there that was installing it said, you'll notice when you hit your front brake, the bike doesn't do a nosedive anymore. And I did notice that it's not doing that. When we took it out on our first test drive, it was a little too firm for Tam. She decided she wanted to go a little softer in the back, so they adjusted a little bit more. And we'll just have to see how it all rides. It's definitely 100% better than the shocks I had on it from Harley Davidson. You know, when I first got the bike, it rode like a Cadillac. That lasted about a year, and that was kind of the end of it, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. So we pretty much got rid of all that air on the back and got the new fronts on it, and we'll have to see how it is. Ended up, they did a good job. I'm really happy with it. So we're going to highly recommend that if you want to get some Legend shocks, go over there to Rick Rack.
You know, that way you got to see everything about it. You know, Shane told us all about the different styles that they've had. You know, we had Progressive on the old bike, and definitely there's a big difference here with the Legends. You know, with putting the front on, I did have that inch lowered. You know, it makes it a little nicer, a little more comfortable when I come to stop, especially with Tam on the back of the bike. Makes it a lot easier to handle the bike. We haven't done any more adjusting to the rear. They seem to be pretty good. You know, riding out here on the roads and the curves and all that, after 8 months, I am totally satisfied with the Legend shocks. You know, there's a lot of different brands out there to check out and things like that. You know, but hey, how you ever going to know unless you get them on a bike and try them out and see what you like? But I mean, we used to have Progressive on the old bike, and these are definitely better than what I had on that bike. So I highly recommend these. You know, check them out. If you want to get them from Rick Rack, you know, go down there to rickrack.com and give Shane a call and see what kind of offer he'll give you, what kind of deal he can make for you. Tell him you've seen it on the Bob and Tam Show.